Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
All right. Welcome, everybody. I finally figured out how to transition out of that video. So that was good. So welcome tonight to 1% Tribe. Tonight, we're going to talk about taking it into your own hands, natural solutions for lasting hand and wrist relief. So hopefully we will get you some good things. I'm finding the little AI thing is pretty cool. I can my titles are better. I like that. So hopefully I'll do it justice as we go. Tonight we've done if you're a subscriber of ours, we've done a wrist show before, wrist and hand pain and all those kind of things. This one I wanted to do kind of an add-on. So like different technique. Every time there's going to be new information. And so I wanted to go, each joint I'm going to redo and just give you at least more valuable information. Or if you didn't know, you could get on the Prize Inside, a chiropractor's journey on Rumble, the Prize Inside, a chiropractor's journey on YouTube, or below you can see tribe1.substack.com for the newsletter aspect. And there we do email. The only emails you get are when we go live or the day we go live. And then we'll throw in a newsletter here and there. I'm trying to get better at putting good information if I find it right away. But for that said, hopefully you guys had a great Sunday. Easter, it was fantastic. Got to take my mama to church. Got some really profound things at church, which was really, really cool. The priest was amazing in his talking. But with that said, we'll keep that and we'll do it a little bit later. I got a good one for that one. He came up with some good concepts in that, but also we got to do, oh my God. So Rachel and I have this one tree. So I got several little barns. So there's we have 10 acres. We have 4 outbuildings. So one of the outbuildings I converted into a gym. And next to this gym, it's not a huge barn. It's like a little pony barn kind of thing. But next to it, we always thought there was this, a maple tree when we moved in here, 13 years ago. It wasn't a maple tree. The vines had grown so much into this pine tree that it took it over. And we tried years and years, we've been trying to figure out how to go after it. We chop a little bit, get overwhelmed, and just leave it. Right. So it wasn't doing anything. It's out of the way. Well, Rachel decided last week she was off. So she started chopping that thing and she got a good chunk of it done. And so we were doing a lot of that. We got to set up our garden. I'll make sure I get some good shots of that too. We're trying a different process. We're going to do I have a big area that I can do. So I'm going to do one big giant row. And then if I need to add rows as we go, I'm just going to space them way out so I can make it comfy and mowable and all those kind of things. So we're trying that this year, see how our mowing or our gardening goes. Getting pretty excited for that season. Love getting out there. Just remember tonight's topic is a very good one. Once this spring starts happening, especially in Michigan, you start seeing people with major different conditions that start popping up on them. And some of them have to do with hand and wrist pain. It can be one of the hardest things on you as far as what you go through. Right. And so what I would suggest is taking care of those. Tonight's about really understanding how to actually take care of our hands. There's some really good concepts out there that you can really do yourself some good. Eh, especially, like taking care of it on an everyday basis. Remember, our 1% tribe concept is doing something 1% better every day, right? And so because of that, the hands are one of the most fantastic to get into with that because it is they're just so valuable to you. They've even done a study. I watched it the other day. Our grip strength, just our grip strength alone, literally links to longevity of the person. This little old lady, she was 93. I saw a video. I'm not sure yet, but she had a record for her age, and she did this thing called dead man hang, which is just hanging from a bar and just letting her body go. She had a dead man's hang at like 2 minutes. That was crazy to see. Now, it's a video, so I don't know if it's actually true, but the idea of strength in your hands, think about that. The innate intelligence of your human body, how do you know it's doing well? Well, how would you do, let's say you feel good everywhere, but you have some hand pain, right? Or something's happening in a condition of the hand or the foot or whatever. Think about how deep and far away the rest of the human body is from those areas. That's why we always say, like, when somebody has like a lower back sciatica, if it gets down to your foot, then we have a different conversation sometimes, because I say, hey, listen, the only way this gets better is it has to get out of the foot, into the calf, into the thigh, into the low back. Now, if we're lucky, it'll skip some of those. However, sometimes it might take that long, and your nerve isn't necessarily healed right after that process either, because it's going to take a long time. So think about, the further away from your body it is, the harder it is to kind of get that innate intelligence to activate. So the better you take care of your hands and feet, the more optimal your body will be. So remember that. It's kind of like the trees. Oh, good. Yes, Julie. Hopefully I get you some new ones, because Julie's been a super fan. And Julie had a little mishap with the area in question tonight, but Julie is been a amazing person in getting through it naturally, which isn't easy. It's not easy with what Julie had happen to her. Tonight my tea is, I did artichoke tea. That was pretty good. So remember, artichoke is a very good balancer. It's not, I think it's in the line of adaptogens, I would say, but remember, artichoke's really good for a lot of things. So I was just trying it instead. I was going to do stinging nettle, which, if you guys remember, that was a good sinus one, right? It breaks up the catarrhs and all that good stuff. But I will stop talking about that stuff. So here we go, baby. So, one other thing. Congratulations to the Michigan team. Even though I'm a huge Michigan State Spartan fan, and I pay tuition to the one that's in the finals for my daughter, they made it to the finals. I have to say it. It's great basketball. So, other than that, let's get rolling. All right, here we go. Take it into your own hands. Natural solutions for lasting hand and wrist relief. And tonight, one of the things we're going to do is talk about some different creams. So we're gonna talk about some supplementation, but we're also going to kind of dive deep into those as well. So what we're going to go over is the anatomy of the wrist. We're going to look at things to improve those wrist issues, nutritional solutions that can help, and I've discovered a few more that you guys might like a lot, and then some mindset stuff that may help as well. So let's talk about the anatomy of let me get rid of my little icon there for a second. Hopefully you guys can see it. Here is anatomy of the wrist. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, or I think there's a little pisiform in there. 8. We have different, let's see, 7. So there is 7 bones of the wrist. Okay. One of the biggest misconceptions and hardest things, I wonder if I can max, what is this? If I push this button, Ooh, I like that. Okay. So one of the things that can happen sometimes is people don't understand that the wrist is 7 different joints. Okay. So seven different little tiny bones, similar to Legos, very intricate in their movement. And it allows our hand to do so many different various movements on a dime. Okay. So we have all these different ones. There's the scaphoid, lunate, trapezium, pisiform, trapezoid, triquetrum, cuneiform, and hamate. I thought that was pretty good. I think I'm close. I think I'm close. That's off of brain stuff. Okay. So I don't know all of them from I usually do. When I'm adjusting them, it's very, very cool. I'll have to show you. Oh, yeah. I'll look that up today too. Show you what a wrist adjustment looks like too. So you guys understand that as well. But so as we go, we have all these little tiny bones in there. And so what that does, and we have to remember when you have at the stage. Okay. All right, get back on there. Okay. So when you have all these different bones, 7 of them in that area leads to several different places where there's joint function. Okay. And so it's a big deal. It's a big deal to understand that there are tons of wrist bones in there. It may be simple at first, but what if those bones are not moving in the proper function, right? There has to be an alignment. Remember, all bones want to be in their perfect alignment, right? So we want to have joint motion. We have bone motion no matter what. So think you wouldn't want your your elbow to not be in perfect alignment. That imperfect alignment is what causes things to start happening. And the anatomy, the deep bones of the wrist are a very big part of that many people miss. It is a huge problem in therapies, in all these things, because they don't know. And it's partly, I think, us chiropractors' fault. People don't know that you should get the entire spine and nervous system checked for neurology and alignment throughout the whole body. So we want to make sure your spine's aligned, your shoulder, your wrist, your elbow, all of those things are aligned, allowing for a lot of these soft tissue things to be really good after you're done. The problem is we forget about the alignment of the joints themselves first, and then it becomes a problem. So I just wanted to show you that. Remember that there's 7 joints. There's way more than that because you have your metatarsals and all that kind of stuff, or metacarpals. And so those are also big ones, the finger bones, essentially, that can cause major issues as well. And then you got the top of your wrist. You have all kinds of stuff. Okay. So this is kind of what carpal tunnel would necessarily look like. Okay. So carpal tunnel syndrome is the idea that there's a tunnel that's made of tendon. Okay. So this tunnel gets wear and tear over time. And this little tunnel starts getting beat up, and then it starts putting pressure on the nerves of the hand. Scar tissue can form, all these things. So I always think of like, you're wrapping, you're taping something, right? So you're taping something to hold it together. So you have like a piece of duct tape and you're wrapping, let's say, 2 wires around, and you want to duct tape them together. That's kind of what the carpal tunnel is made of, is this like ligament that kind of makes sure that everything holds into a really good, proper tunnel. The tunnel is the key. Okay. That's the reason the tunnel's so important, is because the joints, remember what I said back with the 7 bones, those 7 bones, if there's not a good tunnel there, it either the tunnel's flat It's not working as a tunnel, or those joints are somehow off, causing irritation to the tunnel, the shape of the tunnel, plus the irritation to the nerves. Okay, so this is kind of a cool thing. So you want to see hand nerve supply. So you have we always use this example. It's pretty easy to remember. If you have, the fingers that I can make a 6 with, so your first finger, your thumb, and half of your middle finger, okay, is what they call C6. So C6, that's why a lot of times you must always remember that a lot of your wrist issues can be from your cervical spine. Okay. So C6 is a cervical nerve from your 6 cervical vertebrae. The other part, a half of your finger, half of your middle finger, and the 2, your pinky finger and your ring finger, are from C7. C7 area. So if something like that is occurring, sometimes you have to see the whole thing, right? Not just the wrist. Biggest problem in all of sick care model is that a lot of times they only look at the wrist. I can't even tell you how many times it was just an adjustment of the elbow or the neck that actually got their wrist improved, just from doing that. So remember all of those things as well. Okay, so this is the nerve path I wanted to show you. And then we'll get on to the cool stuff. So the nerve path, remember, the cervical spine, your neck, is where the nerve supply to your wrist is. Okay, that's a big deal. If you hurt here's a good example. In all the ones that you've heard tonight, my 1% tribers, this will make sense. Your spine is essentially a circuit breaker board in your basement. You can overload that circuit. How? If you've watched me for long enough, you know how. You overload and pop the circuit. So think of your spine as this big, giant circuit breaker board, and it has wires going through your house to all those different locations. So you have a circuit breaker that goes to your bedroom. You have a circuit breaker that goes to the kitchen. You have all those circuit breakers, and all of them look like little switches. Okay. In our spine, it's similar. You can almost think of it that way. You have a certain circuit that goes to your hand. You have a certain circuit that goes to your foot, right? But here's an interesting thing. If you think in the circuit breaker terms, you can have on a circuit in your house, let's say you have the circuit, you're looking right at the circuit breaker to your kitchen. You can have the same circuit that runs your toaster and your light, correct? It's same pathway, all the things, but it gets that electrical current from the same circuit, okay? The same thing happens with your spine and nervous system. C7 not only goes there, but it also does, let's say, your thyroid hormone, your thyroid. It's the nerve supply to it. So let's say you have hand problems. Could it be that there's a thyroid issue that causes the circuit to go off in your C6, causing your hand to do a weird thing when we don't look for the actual cause, right? So that's why the chiropractor, we're tasked at finding the actual cause. Here's another good example. If I hurt my wrist, if I hurt it severely, aren't you going to have a signal that kind of goes back to the cervical vertebrae? Yes. So is that because I injured it? Remember our thoughts, toxins, trauma. If I injure that wrist, is not my C6 going to be possibly out of place because of the reverse, because we overloaded the circuit that way? Yes. And so that's the idea of why we always look to the spine first, and then we go down to those different areas. But that's why I like to show you where this starts, the origination of this wrist issue, before we get into the cool stuff. Okay. So this is something that's near and dear to my heart. There are actually 3 arches to your hand. We have the carpal tunnel arch. We have a metatarsal arch, or a metacarpal arch, which is up here. and then you have one in between here. Okay. So this one, a lot of people don't understand that this is the protection. Okay. So if you look at this guy, this is the hand position that we will want to keep. And one of my biggest issues in healthcare currently is we don't have a very big concentration on this like we do the arch of your foot. Okay. We understand the arch of your foot causes all kinds of problems if you don't take care of it, if you let it get weak, all those. The exact same thing can be said for the arches of your hand, or if that happens to degrade over time. Computers, driving, a ton of things, getting way too much let's say muscle mass into the hand without actually taking care of those hands, as the days go, can cause major carpal tunnel as well. Forearms, all those things, right? We must take care of our wrists and elbows. It's debilitating. Okay, so with that said, one of the best places to start in all of things, if you know somebody's suffering with some kind of wrist or elbow thing, try chiropractic first. I've seen some amazing stuff. It's something that is very, very treatable in a way that we don't have to be so debilitated. I have a friend, I hate to even bring it up, but he was a truck driver for 30 something years, maybe more. Once his hands got bad, his carpal tunnel, and of course, I didn't know him at this time. He had over 10 different carpal tunnel surgeries, 5 on each hand, because he wasn't ever going to stop doing what he was doing. But there were so many things me and him talked about that he could have done to not get the surgery necessarily, but just kind of to revive those nerves and take care of those. Because once it starts going, like we said in the beginning, the further away from your spine it is, the harder it is on you. So you have to take even more diligence on your feet and hands than any other part of your body, because it takes a lot to get that cellular healing away to those areas. Okay. So let's take a look at some cool exercise videos. So tonight we're going to go over, these will be some cool things to do. These are going to be for Julie that's watching. These are actually, the last video was a little more intense in concentrating on wrist strengthening, right? Because I've always want to make sure there's a big part of that wrist strengthening, but we want to make sure we get into understanding share screen. Sorry, guys. Making sure that we go after, let's start with, I like this one. This one was really good.
All you're going to do, I'll hold.
Okay, hang on. Let me get it back. Some of these have been fantastic. Skip. He talked a lot there. Okay. So what he's going to do
is called the grip and hold. And all we need for this exercise is a towel. Really, really simple. Everyone's going to have one of these around the house. So what you're going to do is you're going to fold your towel up into sort of a four-fold type shape like this. You've got a bit of a fat edge there. We're going to hold the towel with all the fingers and the thumb as if you're making a fist around the towel. And all you're going to do, I'll hold it here so you can see, is you're going to squeeze as hard as you can, as tight as you can, hold for about 10 seconds, and then relax. And then straight back in, we're going to squeeze and hold 10 seconds and relax. And this exercise, because we're doing what we call an isometric hold, which is where we hold it and keep it still for a period of time, we're building not just strength, but we're building endurance into the muscle as well. We're going to use the same towel. We're going to have it in exactly the same position. So holding it with your hands wrapped around it like this. And all you're going to do now is we're going to do a hold and release very quickly. So we're going to do grip, release, grip, release, grip, release.
And you can see how he's using a towel. This is where you could actually use This is where getting one of those little stress balls and making it part of your daily routine is never a bad idea, right? So the biggest thing is like when you do some of these, it's the simple things that are going to make your hands really, really good. And it should be a daily, like as your daily routine goes, because our hands are so stinking valuable.
Grip, release. And this, even though it's working the same muscles, it's working them in a different way. So this time we're working on how quickly we can grip and relax. So we're building a different type of endurance. We're building a...
Good job. All right, now we're going to go to here. I'll let him
Now
do
the third exercise is something I call towel rings. And this is a great exercise. It's rings with a W, because we're basically going to imagine, again with this towel, that it's sopping wet and we're trying to wring it out. So you're going to roll it into a sausage like this, hold it in both hands, nice and close together, and we're going to wring it like this and then wring it the other way. Now, the nice thing about this exercise is even though it works our grip, it also works the muscles that control the wrist. So your wrist extensors and your wrist flexors. This can be quite a good exercise for treating things like tennis elbow, because it strengthens the muscles involved in that condition, but it's also a great way to strengthen your grip. So
yeah, that one's a fantastic one. Just think of in terms, let me stop sharing for a second. So just think in terms of anything that improves the grip strength. So I have a machine that I do. So I do once a week, and I will it's a rope on the floor, and then I have a bar that's above my head, and I hold it above my head, and I actually roll the bar. So it has a rope attached to a weight on the floor. And what I do is I'll actually roll that rope, and you're trying to roll that rope or that weight up to the bar. Okay. I do that for grip strength, and it is amazing like how good your wrists will feel. This is a smaller version of that. Like if you actually have like wrist pain and stuff, taking a towel and kind of twisting it back and forth can be a really good thing, because that's what your wrists are designed for. It's to hold you, it's to carry things, it's to tear things apart, right? So you want to like do some of those different actions. And sometimes with the towel, you can do a lot of this stuff and not worry about getting a special workout type things. Your wrists are not hard to work out. They're just not. And so a lot of times these can be really, really good options, as you go. So hopefully that was a couple good ones for you. Let me look again. I want to get on there. I had a good one. Where did he go? Oh, that's where it is. Okay, hang on. Share this tab. I remember. I found this really good guy. Okay. So I gotta, share this tab instead. Okay, here we go.
Gaming to typing to using our smartphone, these joints in our wrist. I want to show you something really cool. We spend so much of our time holding our smartphone, using our thumbs, typing, whatever you're doing. The wrists take a beating. There's 8 bones in our wrist. You have a scaphoid, lunate, triquetrum, pisiform, trapezium, trapezoid, capitated, hamate, and there's 2 rows. From all that wear and tear that we use on our wrist, from gaming to typing to using our smartphone, these joints in our wrist can lock up. So the second row, the bottom row right above the radius and the ulnar, take your thumb. These joints usually lock backwards. So we could take our thumb and just bring our wrist into an extension as we push our thumb forward. Sometimes you hear some audibles and release. And the top row, we'll take our thumb and we flex it. And just pushing in like this across the joint, we'll hear some release at times. and you'll feel a huge difference. Do both wrists, they'll start to tingle, they'll feel nice and loose, and you will be shocked. I want to show you something really cool. We spend.
All right, now let me go get this one. Share this tab.
I have a wrist pain. Here are 3 movements to try. This is one of my favorites as a physical therapist. Making fists with your hands and then rolling those fists can make the wrist feel so good. It can help lubricate those joints and really help to loosen the supporting muscles. Secondly, taking your wrist through its full range of motion, up and down, can also be helpful to lubricate those joints and help those muscles. Thirdly, working on grip strengthening by holding 2 dumbbells at your sides and walking can be helpful to build the muscles around the joints to help absorb some of the stress, so it's not constantly going to the joint itself.
Good job. Okay, so let's talk about those. Those are very good. So like what we just saw was this guy came in. You can come into your hand and just kind of, you're just kind of trying to move those joints around, trying to get flex. You know how you do this? Like where you're pulling on your fingers and all that. So what we're doing is going into those joints and trying to kind of just keep it loosey-goosey in there, right? So we want to try to get them kind of moving a little bit, right? And so I thought that guy was really, really good, you know, because a lot of times that we think about it too much or we don't get in there. Now my hands get a little, because of chiropractic and a lot of stuff, my grip strength's pretty good, but so I need to do this more often. It's so funny how half the time I'm getting my own therapy on a Sunday night at 1% Tribe. But you think how easy what she was saying, just little rolls of your wrists, right? And then farmer's carry was what she was talking about. Now, remember what I said about aging. If some of these distal, the further away, your hand strength gets stronger, then that means your neurology or healing is happening at a distance. And so that is showing why this is such a good move. Okay. So remember those 2. Those were fantastic. The little rolls, the towel, right? We're tearing up this towel a little bit more. Love that. I'm going to do it. I think I got one more in there. Let me look. Let me see what this does. So, okay. Let me do the share screen. I'm getting better. Is this one? That's the one? Okay. Yeah. This one. Okay, here we go.
Exercises you can do to decrease pain from carpal tunnel are nerve glides and tendon glides. Nerve glides are a series of 6 movements that look like this. You're going to have a fist, straight hand, wrist back, thumb out, turn the palm towards you, and stretching the thumb back. Tendon glides are a series of 5 movements that start in a straight hand, hook fist, straight hand, full fist, straight hand, tabletop, straight hand, flat fist. A couple exercises you can do to
Okay, so did you see that? So let's stop sharing. So the reason is I want to show you this part. So the hardest on top of the wrist joints themselves, which is a lot of times where a lot of these issues come from, right? If we can keep those in motion, plus this, okay? This is one of the most critical, and I pulled this up on purpose because I want to show you this. Where's it at? Oh, of course. Oh, this is a good one. Let's see. Let's see if it'll let me. Okay. So share this tab. Okay. So this is the problem. Most of the time, what happens is over time, scar tissue builds up in all. If you're looking at this picture, you're looking at all the little areas that are like white. So you have the muscles or all these tendons. They're called the flexor tendons. Okay. But then these other tendons are white. So they're all made of ligament. You can see how there's like this weird sheath thing that like covers it up. right? And that's where you get stuck. Like if you have different scar tissue formation, they get stuck. It's like think of like a fishing knot or a knot in a rope that you got to untie the knot that's sticking, in there. That's essentially what happens in trigger finger. Okay. And so with that though, this is super important to pay attention to. And the reason I bring it up now is because of that lady's ones is really important. They're called they're called let's go back to that. Where'd it go? Let's go back to this. See if I can do it one more time. I want to have you watch this because they're called tendon glides, but they're fantastic because it's super important in hands that are
decrease pain from carpal tunnel are nerve glides and tendon glides. Nerve glides are a series of 6 movements that look like this. You're going to have a fist, straight hand, wrist back, thumb out, turn the palm towards you and stretching the thumb back. Tendon glides are a series of 5 movements that start in a straight hand, hook fist, straight hand, full fist, straight hand, tabletop, straight hand, flat fist. A couple exercises you can do.
So those are fantastic. So just remember those as you go. So you're like straight hand, full fist. I do a version of it. And so the other thing is just getting those hands, like just constantly moving those tendons through. Okay. I've seen enough trigger finger. In fact, if you ever in the office, I'll show you another trick that you can do over the top. It's a little tough on video, but you can actually improve to the point. I had a pretty significant trigger finger from chiropractic a long time ago, and I fixed it. And it was pretty cool, like to watch that whole thing get fixed. So hopefully you enjoyed those exercises. I love them. A lot of different easy simples, right? I feel like last time I did the wrist presentation, I gave you guys a little tougher one, but just remember also, let's say you're not ready for a dead man's hang or planks on your fingertips. Doing that thing that they said with the farmer's carry could be a very good thing. Take 2 buckets and just carry them. Just do it, as you go. And you'll get stronger. You'll get stronger as you go. Try a dead man's hang at some point and see how many seconds. You don't have to get 2 minutes. 20 seconds is probably good enough, right? And so if you keep doing it, it's a tough exercise. It's something I do every week, and sometimes you struggle pretty good on that. So just to let you know, it's just a way, and you're supposed to. That's the idea. Okay. So I think I showed you enough. Let me look one more time. If there's anything crazy I want to do. Yeah, I think that's it. Because we're going to go into the next section, which is what could actually happen. Okay. So there's actually neurologically, like we said before, remember it's a circuit, right? So in our hands, the circuit breaker, the circuit where the electricity is happening is from your cervical spine, your lower neck. Okay. Some of your upper neck too, but your lower neck essentially. Okay. So the lower neck is where the circuit breaker is. Okay. So this is going to make more sense when we go into the nutrition aspect of things, because these are all really important. Looking at these as well, we want to make sure we give our bodies the best chance of healing in any capacity. Because why? Because nature needs no help. It just needs no interference. And if we get the more tools we can give it, the better it'll do. Okay. So what we're going to do is go through. There is nutritional issues that cause a lot of wrist pain, but a lot of people don't think about this. If diabetes can cause diabetic neuropathy in your feet, then you can guess the organ condition can cause nervous problems as well for your hands. The neurology of diabetes is really, really tough. It is because these nerves are getting attacked on a pretty regular basis. It's a pretty horrific condition that does happen, But where does it attack first? The furthest away from the body. So that's why my diabetic people have these neuropathies that are horrific in their feet. Now, is there opportunities to reverse it? Yes, there is. It's been proven. Is it a lot of work when it gets to that point? Yes, it's very tough. Hand neuropathies can occur in diabetic patients. It's been seen. So watching your sugar and allowing those the neurology to heal correctly is a very, very big deal. Okay. The reason diabetics is because the nerve damage, there's literal peripheral nerve damage that happens if you're a diabetic. And so one of the things to watch for is like, if your sugar's close, you got a little foot pain. It doesn't mean it's neuropathy, but it should tell you, you know, it might be time to do something. Same with, there's another condition called gout. Gout can be there's a couple ways to think about this. There's these gouty crystals that kind of form in certain joints of the body. Typically it's the feet. Some think we've all got the gout crystals. They just get activated when we eat like crap. So like a lot of this one is with fake sugars and processed foods. A lot of times it has a lot to do with your more processed meats because of the heaviness of the fats and all those kind of things. Gout can be horrific as far as wrists, well, mostly feet pain, but it can be in a lot of other joints. I've seen it in knees, shoulders, all kinds of different situations. Crazy holistic thing, if you know somebody that has that, is black cherry concentrate works really good to kind of calm those crystals down. That one's more of a, you know, one of those folklore type things, but it works. It, you know, like when I was in my beer drinking college days, I thought I had plantar fascia when my chiropractor that I got to see when she was 92. She wanted to work on me. I kept working on her. So she got mad. She's like, "You got any complaints?" I go, my heel kind of. She goes, "You have gout." And she's like, "Take black cherry concentrate." I'm like, "I got gout." Really? He's like, "Yeah, you're chubby and you keep drinking beer too much." I'm like, "Okay." So I started down this path and oh my God, it like, well, one, I got rid of the beer as much as I possibly could. Now I'm a tea guy, but at the same time, it was wild, like how effective that was. Remember red cherry concentrate, and it's very good. You only need like a teaspoon a day. So the other thing is let's look at your liver and gallbladder. So your liver and gallbladder have the same signaling, right? From that C6, C7 area can be a problem. So liver and gallbladder can cause you some wrist and hand pain. Okay. So just letting you know that. So this is why you have to know, right? Sometimes it's obvious. You fall on it, you break it, now you have wrist pain, right? Or you fall on it a long time ago, now you have wrist pain. Why does it pop up just magically? Then that's why you want to take a holistic approach to all this. It's not just let's put a wristband brace on your hand and call it good when we don't know. Liver, gallbladder, diabetes. I've given you two major ones. It could be a big, big problem. But there are also several vitamin deficiencies that can cause you pain in your hands. Vitamin B1, vitamin B6, and vitamin B12. Okay. So these are all things that you could actually be deficient in and actually have a major problem. So, and you know what's funny about the B vitamins is they're your big nerve healing vitamins. So getting a really good multivitamin with a good B complex is super important. B12 is huge in a lot of different nerve things, guys, like shingles, all that crap. If your B12 is on board, then you have a really good shot. Okay. So we have to make sure our supplementation is very good, especially the B vitamins, you know, and take a good one. It's worth it. So, copper is one it's one people don't know about, and we're going to talk about that. So copper could be as a cream, or making sure that the copper, because when you have those different elements like that, there are these trace elements really help the neurology of your body in a lot of good ways. Okay. And that one is a super interesting one. It's one of those that, it goes unthought, but why not take a good B complex, do some copper, make sure your blood sugar is where it should be, right? Try to work on that if it's not, in the diabetes section. But all of those. And then the last one was vitamin D3. So vitamin D3, as you know, is probably one of the number one ones that will always be making sure that your level is good. And that one's a simple blood test you can actually figure out, and do on your own. Now, the one that I wanted to add to this presentation is creams. Okay. So sometimes topical treatments is really good idea. So not only doing something with your hands, right? Doing these workouts and those kind of things, but treat them, like put hand cream on. Okay. So I'm going to give you a few. There's 3 that I would recommend. There's one called magnesium cream. Magnesium, a lot of people have issues where we're depleted of magnesium. So there's really nice magnesium creams now that are really finding good effect with pain management. Let's say it's a really painful wrist problem, or it's actually helping with cramping and all those kind of things, because they found that lack of magnesium is one of the reasons, like even restless leg was happening, because the medicines we take sometimes deplete our magnesium. Okay. So magnesium cream is a really good idea, but it also does our 1% tribe, where if you're rubbing it in there and doing your own like self massage stuff, you're going to help yourself out quite a bit. Like tonight, I'm like feeling it. I was chopping some serious stuff down. I told you guys about the Vine stuff. We got pretty far. Man, my wrists were like, we were doing a lot of stuff. All right. So I will use some of those creams. So remember magnesium cream. Another one that's really important to understand, and it's really good as far as an herbal, is arnica. So arnica is an arnica cream. We have all these at the office as well, but you can get them online, or my full script. Oh, I can put my little screen. Yeah, put that up there. Go to my full script. Full script is a place that if you sign up for it, you can communicate throughout. I can send you cool things. It's got 35,000 supplements in there, all vetted through naturopaths, which is amazing. So remember that. If you know how to QR code, there that is. The arnica is a really good herb for muscle and tendon healing. And so a lot of times people have a lot of good luck rubbing that into muscle, especially if you have some, like, you use your hands quite a bit. So if it's somebody that's in, like, let's say skilled trades, I will tell them to do arnica first, because the muscle inflammation might be their problem more than, just the neurological pain necessarily. So, and the last one would be creams that have what they call camphor in it. Camphor is a really good herb for ligament healing as well. And we have one called Emu cream at the office, and it's really, really good. You can see some of these different herbs, though, they really do a good job topically. Are there more? Yes, there are definitely more. But I think topical doesn't get enough credit a lot of times for the value, especially in things like wrist, elbow, shoulder. The problem most of the time is we wait until it's hurting so bad before we do anything, that a lot of times your herbals won't be a match to how bad some of these conditions can get. So our job is to not be as 1% trapper. We're going to work on it all the time. We're going to keep improving each body. It's not that hard to improve your body joints each and every day. Just remembering it and being consistent. So those are those. All right. So here are some good other herbs that you could potentially take if you want some really good nerve situations or pain or nerve stuff. Okay. So ashwagandha is an adaptogen, if you remember, and it's a neuroprotectant. Black cohosh is in for pain relief. So if you have a lot of wrist pain, sometimes that black cohosh could be a thing. I would suggest maybe getting it as a ointment as well. White willow is basically nature's aspirin. Okay. So that could be a thing. Butterbur is a really good nerve analgesic. So these are like tinctures or, those kind of things. Chamomile's really good for the muscle relaxing aspect. So if you want to do chamomile tea, tincture, those kind of things. If we want to work on our gallbladder or liver, sometimes get dandelion tea, which is the number one, gallbladder detox in the world, is dandelions, which is crazy. And of course, if we're having those type of issues, we want to use what they call choleretics and cholagogues. These are types of herbs that actually help with bile delivery. It makes those balanced. It helps with bile in making sure the liver is going. That's why they're called those choleretics. And so ginger, coriander, and artichoke leaf, which is what I'm having tonight as a tea. So it's a choleretic and cholagogue. I forgot about what artichoke did, but it has a lot of good stuff. This one, if you take it as something other than a tea, though, artichoke, you want to get with somebody that knows. So like a registered herbalist. Okay. Something. Okay. So then our final piece, because I always love this one, is the mental aspect. So remember, we have thoughts, toxins, trauma. Always looking at all the alls, right? If our wrist hurts, why? It's not just for fun. I gave you all the entire pathway. Your wrist is so connected to your body. It goes all the way from your cervical spine to your wrist. So it potentially could not be a wrist problem at all, which is fascinating, right? It could be something else. It could be you hurt your neck and then your wrist hurts, right? So if that can happen, why couldn't an organ related thing? That's what we're talking about. Thoughts, toxins, trauma. So we've been through toxins, which are diabetes, bad sugars, liver, gallbladder, and then the stuff you can take for it. You have the traumas, which are, taking care of your wrist or the tendons and the little tiny bones. And they're the seven little bones, making sure that we're moving those around. So this last piece is all about the thoughts. Okay. So there's thoughts that could be relinked. And this lady named Louise Hay created a book that I really, really like. It gives you a general idea. Sometimes thoughts, the subconscious program, right? And we'll have to start I haven't done a show on that in a long time. So some of the subconscious programs we run in the back of our head can cause some of these things. So one of the things that I like to show is what that looks like and if it helps somebody. Okay. So now to see if this could be connected. Your wrist happens. And this is what Louise Hay would say. For hand pain specifically, she suggests it's related to issues of holding on too tightly or not handling experiences well. The emotional reason centers around difficulty in grasping, letting go, or managing life situations with ease. Think clutching, gripping, or resisting flow. Okay, so this is the next side. This is something we don't care necessarily. Okay. So when we look at these different ones, we don't want to dive deep. We, like it says, it's something in life we might be clutching on too close or too tightly or reaching for, right? That causes these issues. It's not as important to understand what that is as knowing what you can do to fix it, right? So it's really important on the next slide to take this as a mantra. So if you got wrist pain, let's see what this mantra does. All right. Your affirmation is, I choose to handle all my experiences with love, joy, and ease. I choose to handle all my experiences with love, joy, and ease. And so if we're able to live our life with love, joys, and ease a little better, we can really take it to the next level. So hopefully you enjoyed that tonight. Ooh. Oh, sweet. Good. Thank you, Julie. It's good to talk to you, though. Hopefully this will give you some new ones actually to work on. I love talking each one. Each joint we're going to go through a couple times anyway, because there's always new information out there. So what do we do for a 1% tribe this week? We're going to start changing our lifestyle a little bit, start adding wrist motion into your daily routine. Get some good vitamins, B1, B12, B6, be cautious, just be complex. Be complex will get you there. Look at all those different creams we talked about. Remember the creams, ready? Emu cream that has camphor. We have arnica, that's fantastic. And then you have magnesium cream. All three have different benefits, but really, really good. And then just remember, if you ever want some supplements where me and you can actually talk and communicate, and I could recommend, and you can write back and forth, you get on that full script up there. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed your night. I'm still working on, so tune in on to Whole Health Weekly this week, Wednesday night, 8:30. It'll be great. Sometimes that's when I think I'll be sneaking in interviews. I got a couple invites out there for some really cool stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be neat if I can get these interviews, of course. But my numbers keep going up, which is fantastic. So I'm pretty pumped. I'm so appreciative of people wanting to hear what we got going. I love this. It's like when we grow something together, it's going to keep getting there. And it's so inspiring because it's like, it allows me to like research even more each time. So with that said, I'll see you Wednesday night at 8:30. It could be an interview, could be just our normal Whole Health Weekly. So with that said, you guys have a great night. Take it easy.